Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Callisto Protocol maximum security walkthrough, and this is chapter 4 called Habitat. And this video is part 1 out of 2 because Habitat is one of the absolute longest levels in the entire game. And as I said in the previous video, I don't want to make hour-long walkthrough videos, much to make it easier on you and also myself. So either way, the beginning part of this level is a bit calmer. It's not as action-packed as the game usually is. So I want to talk a little bit about difficulties and difficulty settings. Because some of you may be wondering why I decided to do this walkthrough of maximum security and not go for one of the bonus difficulties that have been added in since, hardcore mode and contagion mode. And the thing is, maximum security is the highest difficulty you need to beat in order to unlock the platinum trophy for this game. Hardcore mode and contagion were added in afterwards, so they have their own separate trophy lists. And the thing I was thinking about doing at least hardcore mode. But the thing is, I read about it, and hardcore mode, enemies take, I think it's twice as much damage as they do on maximum security. And drops are more scarce. None of that really comes in to me as a factor, except for the damage, the abuse they can take before they die. Just one little note here, you will see quite an odd transition. What I did here, I'm gonna drop, I think it's a battery pack or something, or maybe it's bullets. Either way, yes, I drop a battery pack. Then I pick up that energy converter and I ran back up to the store that I was just at and just sold as much as I could out of my inventory in order to free up space. I would recommend that you do the same, because we will be picking up some nice stuff, and it's sad if you have to leave anything behind. But now where was I? I was talking about hardcore mode. Yes. More scarce loot drops and tankier enemies. And also, I think I read that they changed the enemy placement, which is quite interesting, but I don't know if hardcore mode, beating the game on hardcore mode, if that would unlock the other difficulty trophies as well. And also, since I think, I'm not gonna swear to it, but I'm quite sure that I read that they did change the enemy placement, then it won't help anyone perhaps playing on maximum security, and just because you can watch a guide if you're struggling on medium security, for example, and you watch this maximum security guide, it will still help you because the enemy placement is still the same. But if they start switching it up, factors change and then it won't help you. And also, contagion mode is a DLC added. As I said, hardcore mode was added in for free. By the way, go over to the right and check what's over there. I don't know why I didn't go there. I think there might be some loot pickup. We are supposed to go here to the left, but for some reason I just didn't check it out. So I'm not sure what's over there. Knowing this game, there's probably some good loot to pick up. Only problem now is that my inventory once again is full. I would have loved if there was something in the store you could buy, like fucking a fanny pack or whatever, just to equip Jacob with maybe like 1 or 2 extra slots of inventory. because 6 slots is quite cheap, and I think that is supposed to be like a little throwback to, by the way, jump scare incoming. You're welcome. Yes, a fanny pack or whatever. I think inventory management is supposed to be a throwback to both Dead Space, even though I think Dead Space, you get, what is it like? I should know this. I played the game quite recently. But every time you buy a new suit, a better suit, you get more inventory slots in Dead Space. Here, that is not the case. You will get a new suit later on. I think it might be at the end of this chapter, or maybe it's at the end of chapter 5. Can't remember which one. We'll find out. But that will upgrade your inventory space up to 12 slots instead. But I think that is something they could have added in. Like, either give me the option to buy slots, because me being a hoarder when it comes to games, and also the fact that you can sell everything you pick up, would make it a great addition, and it would make things a little bit easier. By the way, I love that death animation. That is so satisfying. But I was not talking about inventory slots. Sorry, I digressed. Contagion mode. That's the thing I was talking about. And the thing is, the reason why I might play this game on hardcore mode one day, I have other things to play right now, and I also bought myself a new toy. Can talk about that more later. But hardcore mode, I might play through it just for my own enjoyment at some time. I don't know. But I'm quite sure I will never ever play Contagion mode. Because Contagion mode was released as a DLC, the Contagion bundle, I think it's called. And they charge you... I checked my PlayStation app this morning, and it says 109 crowns, I think, which translates to around $9, or like 7 or 8 British pounds. And the thing you get in the Contagion bundle, this is what grinds my gears, is you get Contagion mode, new difficulty. You get some skins, and you get I'm drawing a blank here. You get skins, you get Contagion mode. Yes, sorry, you get new death animations for Jacob. I think it's like 50 new death animations. And I think I talked about that in a previous video. The death animations in this game, they were a big hype before the game was released. And starting to play this game, I thought the death animations, I thought it was awesome. I almost killed myself on purpose just to try to see them all. But that gets old very quickly. And when you die, by the way, down here in the water, you will see that. Don't be scared. It is just there to psych you out. Nothing will come out of this water and attack you. It is just there to keep you on your toes. It's quite effective though. Because first time I played this, I was really on edge. But once again, going back to Contagion, the death animations, that was what I was talking about, which is part of Contagion mode. Because the thing with Contagion mode, the difference between that and hardcore mode, as I understand it, is that in Contagion you have no mid-level checkpoints. and you can't do any manual saves. So if you die, you start off at the beginning of a chapter. And I'm fine with that. I don't see a problem with it at all. As I've said, the dodging mechanic in this game is super overpowered if you use it wisely. Make sure don't do the mistakes you see me do from time to time. Try to get greedy. Always wait for enemies to swing at you or finish their combo before you go in for a swing at them. But the fact that they try to charge you 100 crowns or $9, 8 British pounds for a difficulty, I think that is so not cool. And it has been done by other developers in the past. I remember it was a big hoo-ha about it when Metro Last Light, when it was initially released for PlayStation 3. By the way, in this little corridor, there is some loot. Be careful. Watch this video before you move further on, because one of these contains a little slug that you will see pop out right there. So shoot that pod before the slug pops out. I don't know if that will make it pop out of another one. I don't think so. And since we have one press QTE assistance activated, that was a horrible sentence, but you get what I mean. Since we have that activated, I don't think I took any damage from that slug jumping at me. But going back to Metro Last Light, when it was initially released, I think if you pre-ordered the game, at least at GameStop, you would get Ranger Hardcore mode as a pre-order bonus, or you got a code to unlock it. And that was the thing, that was information that was on the game disc. Ranger Hardcore mode was there. All you needed was a code to unlock it. And if you didn't pre-order the game, you would have to buy it. And it only, I don't think it cost very much. I think it was just like $3 or something. I'm not gonna swear to it. And also to be continued, because now we are heading into some combat. So I'm gonna focus on this for a little while. This first guy, I am backing up as much as I can, because I don't want to trigger the next set of enemies before we take him out. Because there are, let's see, there's this guy, 1, 2, 3. I think there are like 4 waves of enemies here that are triggered at different points. So here is the second one. This is just one normal guy and a spitter, and things go a bit sideways for me here. I would recommend, as soon as that normal guy pops out, or normal biophage, pull him towards you with the grip glove and try to put as much damage into him as you can, as fast as you can. Because you see, right now I'm in a shitty situation. I have the spitter behind me, and I said back in the second video for chapter 2 that you'd never want to get caught in between 2 enemies. And especially not if one of them is a spitter. It can be, as long as you move, it can be okay. It's not an ideal situation. But the spitters, if they're at a distance, they will always spit, and you can see the spit doesn't move very fast. So it will not pose a super huge threat. Everything is a threat, of course. We're playing this on hard mode. But the point I was getting to is the spit doesn't do a massive amount of damage, but it racks up over time. So if you take enough loogies to the back, it will whittle down your health. So be careful. Drag the first enemy towards you and make his life misery as fast as you can before the spitter has time to close the distance on you. Or try to shoot the head of the spitter. I tried to... You saw that. I tried to get one shot off. Didn't quite manage to do it because when I shot, I hit the first biophage in the arm. Because he was heading in for a swing. But it worked out well in the end, at least. And now I'm gonna tell you about one of my less than proud moments when it comes to this game, which took place inside this room. Because there is a trap in here. A thing that is designed to trap you, and me having played over 1,000 video games, I walked straight into that trap. And it's easy to not get trapped if you do what I will show you. Because on the next walkway, at the end of that, you will see a loot chest. And I was like, ooh, nice stuff. I wanna get that. So when you open that, enemies will trigger behind you, and you see an explosive barrel over there to the right that I'm pointing on right now. We're gonna throw that over to the right. There will be an enemy spawning in from the left on the walkway. Move to aim to his left side, because you want to clock the enemies behind him. So we pick that up, aim over there, and throw it. Because this guy is a regular biophage, and we all know how to take those on. The two enemies spawning in behind him, I know one of them is a spitter, the other one I think is a brute. So throw that explosive container and it will make things so much easier. Because the first time I played, I ran over there, opened the loot chest, I heard the enemy spawning in behind me, and I was like, Wolfman, you stupid idiot. You walked straight into the most obvious trap that has ever trapped. This is embarrassing. And I missed the fact that there was an explosive barrel there, so I shot my way out of there. Which I could do since I was playing on medium security at the time, but at maximum, that can be a tough nut to get out of if you don't use the explosive barrel. And either way, as we are fighting these two final enemies, an armored guy and a spitter guy, I like this armored guy because he's very kind. Whenever I end up in a situation where I'm close to getting caught in between them, he has a tendency to grab me and push me the other way. So like, no, we want to face you, both of us. Because sometimes the enemies can be kind like that, and I really appreciate them for it. But once again, going back to the discussion of difficulty and Ranger Hardcore mode and Metro Last Light. As I said, it was added in, or you could buy it, and people were pissed. I remember there was a lot of discussion about that, because people thought it was a really douche move, and it was. Because all the information was there on the game disc to begin with. All you needed was a code to unlock it. It wasn't even added in as an update. And I think also with The Last of Us, when it was released on PlayStation 3 back in... oh my god, it was released back in 2013, so that's 10 years ago. Grounded mode was released afterwards, and I think quite long afterwards. I don't remember when, But that was also paid DLC, and I didn't buy it for the PlayStation 3 version. Because I didn't play Grounded mode until I got... until I bought The Last of Us Remastered on PlayStation 4. Then it was added in from the beginning. And we all know I enjoyed it. The very first guide I ever did was for that difficulty. By the way, this is also a little side path. Just to go in and pick up some good stuff. And I thought, when I played this game the first time, these side paths, I found them to be actually very stressful. Because I knew that there were these little side paths you could go in and always pick up good loot. I had read about that beforehand. But when you're playing a game like this the first time, and you don't know what's happening, I think it's a stressful experience with horror games, and that is perfectly logical, because that's what a horror game is supposed to do. By the way, this pod is not active. You see, I didn't get any loot, so that was just me being overly cautious. But we're gonna go in here and open, because there's a loot chest. But every time I would get to a fork in the road on my first playthrough, I would just like stand there hesitating. Am I supposed to go left or should I go right? Because this game is actually quite lenient. Because a lot of times you will be able to backtrack if you want to. I think I have said this in a previous video. But if you want to, by the way, there's a collectible if anyone is going for those. You see, I showed you one. And don't miss these two lockers going out. But what was I talking about? Yes, this game is quite lenient when it comes to backtracking. Most of the time you can backtrack quite far if you want to, I think. So if you want to maximize your money and stuff like that, there's no shame in like picking up stuff and running back. If you know you can get back to a store and you feel you have the time and want to invest the energy, do so. Because dead enemies stay dead. They will not like spawn in new enemies, as far as I know. By the way, this is not my finest moment. I don't know really what happened here. I think I got like a bit overzealous because I knew I had quite a few health injectors and there is one on the wall as well. So I went overly aggressive against these two enemies and I paid the price for it. You see, I'm down at red health. And if I hadn't been an idiot, if I had been cautious, like I preached to you to do, or to you to be, maybe that health pickup would have been credits instead. But either way, as I said, if you want to run back to stores and sell all the loot you find, do so. Because it always helps, and there is also a store coming up quite soon. And this room is quite funny. This is also one of those rooms where I was very hesitant to walk into this room on my first playthrough, because this room, you gotta admit, this room screams boss fight. I was standing in the doorway and I just looked, moved the camera around and like, does this game think I'm fucking stupid? And the funny thing is, no, it isn't a boss fight. I wouldn't call it a boss fight. Maybe not even a mini boss fight. But you'll see when we go back there. Death is coming, written in blood on the wall. That that even felt more ominous, because I went through and like, okay, nothing happened, so the boss will clock me on my way back. Is that what you're telling me? And now you will be seeing me running back and forth here a bit, because we are gonna flush our inventory, as I always do whenever I get to stores. I would recommend that you can save a few bullets for the fight coming up, depending on how you wish to approach it. I would say that there are two good strategies for doing it. And I will talk about, I will only show you one because I didn't think of doing the other one when I did it. It's not a hard fight coming up. It's nothing like the shoe or anything like that. It's very easy. But there are ways to speed things along. But make sure you pick this place clean and sell everything. This is basically just free money. A lot of good stuff just lying around in close proximity to a store is not to be overlooked. And if you have enough money to make any nice upgrades, do so. And you can see I am stacking money right now. I have 2,600 credits. And the reason for me doing so is that I knew I will be getting the shotgun. I can't really remember when it is, if it's at the end of this chapter, because I wanted to make sure when I get the shotgun that I can immediately upgrade its clip capacity and its damage output. And as I said, I think I mentioned that all the way back in the first episode of this guide, that I don't use any upgrade reliant strategies. All I would say is that when you get to the bosses, that is the reason I strongly advise you to upgrade the damage output of the shotgun when you get it, because it will make the boss fights go faster, significantly faster. Because the real bosses in this game are very, very tanky. Oh dear god, they're tanky. And this is a bit of a plot twist. You see on the wall, shoot the tentacles, which I bet is a little homage to Dead Space, because there you see written in blood, cut off their limbs. Because from now on, they imply that some enemies, when they have taken damage, you will see those tentacles. If you shoot that cluster of tentacles, you can instantly kill the enemy. But the thing is, they say that yeah, some of the enemies will mutate from now on. What they mean is more or less that every enemy you come across, given a chance, will mutate. And it doesn't make them harder. I think in their mutated state, I think they hit harder than a regular enemy does. But they don't gain any new attacks. But I think, especially when they're mutated, they have a bigger tendency to do combos consisting of 4 swings. Because I think regular enemies will mostly do a maximum of 3 swings. A mutated one can go up to 4. And also, while they are mutating, if you are super aggressive, sometimes you can kill them before the mutation is completed. If you stay on really aggressively, but also the combo with doing 2 R2s and 1 R1, like 2 regular swings and a baseball swing to knock them off their feet, still works on the mutants. or the mutated ones, because all of them are mutants. So that is a viable strategy to use as well. But now that he is dead, we can put in the code and we end up in the boss fight. Because you will go into a cutscene where you will see those crawlers, and they have a cloaking device, which doesn't become a factor at all. So we're just gonna run back to the corner where we came into this room right now, and we're gonna wait. Because there are 3 crawlers. Here's the first one. When they do a big jumping attack, that is a great moment to just go in and punish them. You can use the same strategy on them as you do on regular enemies. Do 2 light swings and 1 heavy, and just crush them. And I think this... I don't understand the point of this fight. Because as I said, there are 3 crawlers. They will attack you one at a time, just like regular enemies. They like to do those small attacks and then run away. But what you can do, I said there are a few different strategies to take this on. You can do this, just wait in the corner, wait for big attacks. Don't get greedy, because they can mess you up, as I think this one has a chance of doing, because I get greedy. Oh. Also, you can shoot them while they run away, but if you want to speed this up, I would recommend when one of them is running towards you, grab him with the grip glove, pull him towards you, just drop him at your feet and kick his ass. That, you saw that? That was me being stupid. But these enemies are quite weak. I would say they are actually weaker than regular biophage enemies are. And the great thing about them is that they can't mutate. That is a really positive thing, because I think the mutation, that is also a factor as to why I didn't want to do this on hardcore or contagion mode. Because enemies mutating is basically giving the enemy a second health bar. And if enemies take twice as much damage as they do on maximum security, can you imagine what a grind fest that would be? How long it would take? But either way, as soon as those 3 crawlers are dead, I call them crawlers, don't know what the official name is, probably something else, dogs or something. You will get a audio cue that place is unlocked. But this is not the type of fight you were expecting, right? I bet you were expecting something more impressive than 3 weak ass crawler enemies. And if so is the case, please let me know in the comments. I love to read your comments. But now that they are dead, we can move across this little walkway and climb up the staircase, which you will not see. And down this hatch to end part 1 of Habitat. And I'll see you again in part 2. So, as always, I want to thank you so very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos, and I hope they are helping you get through maximum security. But I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.